Maggie and I also we were guests on another podcast like a week ago or something.
I saw that you were stepping out on me. Mm-hmm.
I did. I stepped out on you.
You didn't?
But I was
give me a heads up about it. I had to find out on social media that you were the bottom for somebody else's podcasting top. Thanks a lot.
Listen, when you're in an open relationship, there are no rules. And this is Gaytriarchs.
So, David, I am so excited because it is soon spring break. Yes, we have a very late spring break in my area. It is soon spring break, and my family is getting out of town. Have I told you about this? Good rehearsed response.
Yeah.
Okay,
I know you just told me about it.
But I didn't get into full details.
This is the podcast now, and I'm performing the part of somebody who is you just tossed me the ball and I'm tossing it back to you.
But you don't know all of the details. So that's why I stopped myself telling you off air and saying, okay, let's record this. So we are flying to Vegas and we are picking up an RV to drive as a family in a tin can with beds and a table in it to Zion and Bryce and to do the national parks in southern Utah. Now, as time has gone by, the level of anxiety that the entire family feels about it, except for my son, who is chill about everything, is vastly escalating because
it sounds amazing and horrible at the same time. It sounds like the best idea you've ever had and the worst idea you've ever had.
This is definitely tapping into my Colorado DNA that I grew up with, right? And also the idea that I do want my kids to not just I say my kids, and really I mean my daughter, to not just think that vacation is just always her pretending to be a celebrity laying by a pool or a beach. We can do that anytime. We live on the coast in Connecticut. She can friggin' do that this summer on our not nice sandy beach. But I want a little adventure. We are, going to sleep in the tin can. My partner's getting a lot of mileage out of telling people in the grocery store, this is what we are doing for spring break. And everybody goes, wait, what?
Yeah. Because I feel like I've daydreamed about this, like with my friends or with my family, or whatever. Like, how fun would it be? We could be in an RV and we get to see the world's largest peanut or whatever. But then the crushing reality of my children in a 200 square foot space.
Yeah. And furthermore, to really double down and be an asshole parent who regrets every bit of this planning stage, I'm taking their phones away for the week. They know this. They know this. It's been a subject of we have talked about it.
That is, I am so excited to revisit this after you come back, because we have 2 recordings planned when the day after you come back, and I'm very interested to see what version of Gavin Lodge we get.
Well, they already know about the phone situation. Now I'm sure that I will cave, and I'll cave in the way that, like, listen, I also want to just scroll. Scruff. I mean, the New York Times for half an hour in southern Utah in the evening. But I am going to insist that while we're driving with no seat belts between Las Vegas and southern Utah, they get bored and I'm bringing cards. I'm bringing, playing cards and some games that travel well. And I want them to sit and look out the window. And I'm insisting on this, and they know it. They know it. And
all right, so listener out there, I want you to we need to have a side pool. We go to Klarna or whatever, and we can bet at what point does Gavin scream at the top of his lungs and throw the phones back in the thing and shut the separation between the two. I'm going to put my thing at 6 hours. I think at the 6 hour mark on day 1.
I thought you were going to say
Gavin just.
I thought you were going to say 6 miles outside of Las Vegas.
No, I think you're going to push through, and I think you're going to push through hard, and I think you're going to do all the right things. You say, "Hey, let me teach you how to play spades. Right. Hey, look out the window. Look at that. That's a plateau." Right. And then I think at some point you're going to break.
Never mind. Here you go. Yep. Anyway, I'm very excited about it. It is just like you said, dream about it for a few years, and finally this year I said I'm going to do it. I bit the bullet. We got plane tickets and everything back in November, and now gas all costs $12 a gallon. Thanks to
it's a great time to be RVing,
right? And an RV that is undoubtedly not a hybrid or electric vehicle.
No.
So,
oh my God, I can't wait, David.
All right, so More pertinent is this morning, the drama that I had going to school. For some reason, my daughter actually planned in advance and asked last night, can we go to Dunkin' in the morning? There is conveniently a Dunkin' Donuts. I mean, this is New England after all, on the way to our school, right? So I was like, I'm feeling generous. Also, she actually asked me ahead of time and asked me nicely and said, also bribed me by saying, I love you.
But you want to reward that,
I do.
Right?
So I said last night, yes, we can. So this morning, it was kind of a chill morning. We didn't have to like have a breakfast frenzy and everything. So we get in the car and my daughter starts to order on my phone. And I say, hey, can you please make it a medium and not a large? David, you would think that I had, I don't know, taken away her phone now before flying to Vegas and getting in an RV. She was irate with me. Why? What? You said we could have Dunkin'. And I'm like, right, but I just want you to have a little limitation on what you're doing. And I would prefer.
So you were moving her drink size from the large to the medium, and that's what really set her over the edge.
It set her over the edge, absolutely over the edge. She started utterly freaking out at me. And then I said, okay, make it a small. And because just want my kids to have some sense of like, it isn't always more all the time. And I think that some kids are just more kids. My daughter, we did sign language before she was speaking, right? Which I highly recommend, actually. I mean,
yeah, we did
it was also a gateway drug to videos because we just put some sign language video in front of her. And that was where we started her on her drug addiction to screens, basically, when she was not even 1 year old. But she did learn a lot of words. But the first word she ever learned, and this is a household joke, was more. And so it's always a more situation. So anyway, even she, instead of negotiating with me, she said, Dad, it's just a difference of 20 cents. And then she said, it's embarrassing. And I'm like, are you telling me it's embarrassing to walk into your high school with your drink in hand and it's a small? And then, David, I started to question myself. And I'm like, it does look like you're the poor people or maybe the thrifty people or maybe the people who just have limits in their lives that she has a small in her hand because it does look minuscule in our supersized society. Am I an asshole or am I not?
But I guess that was my question is like, what was the source of your reduction? Was it the price? Was it I don't want that amount of coffee going into her? Or was it just like, I want to move the needle and train you that when I move the needle, you don't freak out?
Okay, so first of all, getting mediums instead of larges is a constant source of conversation between us. Whenever she goes to a coffee shop, I always have to say to her, normally I actually say, please get a small and not a medium. And that is always a source of consternation for her. But I'm just like, it's the principle that you're just always asking for more. And why isn't it tall just fine? Also, she doesn't luckily drink coffee. She always just gets like the spritzy, fruity iced tea drinks and whatnot. So I'm just trying to teach limits. That's what it comes down to. And so she absolutely anticipated me saying, get a medium, not a large, which by the way, was me actually upsizing. And then she freaked out in such a way that I thought, okay, I have the power. I'm taking it back because I am a petty little bitch.
Well, rule of negotiation, you should have countered her large with a small and then you could have landed at the medium, right? Like if you were aiming for the medium, say the small, right? Like shoot for the moon because if you miss, you land amongst the stars or whatever. But it's an interesting thing. And again, this happens all the time. I don't know if this is like we're developing a like mind. But I was thinking this past week and I put it on the outline is like, can you change your kid? And this is part of this, right? Is like, you are trying to change the way she thinks about more, right? And I have really been struggling with my son this week. He's been such a fucking dick about everything. And I've been trying to get him to be more kind in the way he talks to me and talks to other people. Hey, when you say, I don't like peanut butter, instead of looking at me and be like, I don't even like peanut butter, you say, hey, Dad, I don't love peanut butter. Can I have something else? Right. But do we have any effect on them?
Right.
Because the older my kids get, the less I think I have control over any
of it. Yeah. And
so are they just who they are out of the package and we just kind of push in the sides a little bit? Or can we make a girl who's obsessed with the larges fine with the mediums without you in the room?
Good question. I really do think that we are probably 80% formed straight out of the womb. And you can't really change that nature much. I really don't. I think
except the gay part, right? Except sexuality. You can change that as long as you put your kid in baseball and not figure skating. Yeah.
Yeah, that is baby, you were born that way is what it comes down to.
Baby, you were born you were born a little bit of an asshole.
Yep. And you are born demanding and stubborn and more and undiplomatic.
So then what do we do?
Right.
Do we just give all of us a break and just say, well, I'm not going to fight it anymore? Or do we fight it?
That is the incredibly fatiguing part about parenting. It is, I think you do have to fight the battles every single day to keep your kids from growing up to be assholes. That's
if you can. I think it's more that you have to keep fighting all the battles because you don't know which battle will work and which one won't. Because if you say 80% of the battles won't work, you don't know which ones. Because again, me demanding my children say please when they ask me of anything, and I mean anything.
Right.
Can I take a bath now? Can I have a toy from Target? Can we go to the water park? I'm like, just say fucking please afterwards.
Yeah.
I am so tired of crawling uphill on this icy slope that I'm like, should I just give up? Because they're never going to do it when I'm not there. Because my hope, I'm sure it's the same way with you, is that when I'm not there nagging them 24/7, that the default will be please or the default will be medium.
I think that one, you have to keep fighting that battle, and two, eventually their default will be medium when they're not in front of you. But they'll always be nagging little shits. For how I mean, don't you resort to being a petty little bitch when you're with your mom? Do you become a kid? Please just answer yes, but
yeah, I guess I do. I guess I'm still mean to her, but I'm nice to other people.
Right.
What does that say about my relationship with my mom? No,
I think it's a relationship with every parent.
I mean, like you said, this is such a common thing with parenting, all the way from when they're 1 second old. I remember being like, oh, you're doing this, but I want you to be doing this. So I'm going to nudge you that direction. And as we go, I'm like, I don't know if any of it is working or what it's seeping in, or like you had said, I think last week, at 17, my daughter finally started cleaning the table, and now she cleans the table. I got to put in 17 years of this shit before it
But let me clarify that. She did it one time, and believe me, she has not done it since then either.
Okay, see, that's what I mean. Is we could have saved ourselves 12 years of heartache, but I don't want to be the parent who gives up. Oh, God, parenting, who decided to do this? This was the dumbest thing we've ever done. What are we doing?
We could go. You can see in our notes there that I even have more to amend to that, but let's kill this topic for now because it is a constant battle. How much do you push? How much do you try to mold? But I like your metaphor of we can kind of just push in the edges a little bit, but they're basically fully formed straight out of the womb. I think that is actually sadly the case.
So the other thing that I put on before we move on to the news of the week was we went to an Easter dinner at a friend's house who has a baby. And I have had 2 babies, as have you. We are very versed in, we're very versed. And also we're very versed in putting we know how to raise a baby. We've done it twice. It's been relatively successful. And somebody handed me this baby. And when I grabbed this baby, it was like I've never held a baby before. I was like, where do I hold it? Where do I put my arm? Do I touch its head? What if it looks at me weird? I suddenly felt like I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. And it made me realize I am now at the point where I would make fun of you and all the other parents who would say shit to me where I'm like, you have totally forgotten what it's like to be here. And now my brain has dumped part of that knowledge about having a baby and the comfort. You know how when you're on baby number 2, you'll just grab them by the scruff of the neck, like 100%, cat, right? But now I was
diaper off and put a new one on with a wipe in between, and they haven't even
one-handed,
and they haven't even
one-handed with a wipe in your mouth, ready to go. I could right now, if you're wipe this baby, I would be like, I don't know I don't know anything about this, and it was just fun. And there's no real discussion topic here, other than for those of you out there who have a baby right now and you're thinking about having a second, and we're going to talk about this with our guest today, you're going to forget. My friend of the podcast, Haven Burton, her husband, when they had their 3rd kid, I remember saying to the nurse in the hospital, show me how to put on a diaper. Again, I forgot. I said, Denny, this is your 3rd child. But now I fucking get it. Like, which side are the tabs on?
Yep.
What number are they? What does the blue line mean? It's my brain has dumped it all.
Yep. That doesn't surprise me in the slightest bit. Yes, it's a survival mechanism. And yes, it all just gets worse. So there we go. Speaking of things getting worse, in the news of the week, you know that there is, this week, even though we're releasing this a week later, I don't know. At the time of this release, are we at war again
Today
with
is
Iran?
April 9th,
have we?
We're on a 2-week break. We're taking separate vacations right now. Daddy and Mommy are taking 2 separate vacations right now. Taco strikes again, right? Trump hour. Yep. Was it Trump always
caves? What is it? Shit. Trump always caves in? No. Wow, shit. Please edit
Hold on, I'm
out.
Googling it right now. Trump always chickens out.
That's it. Thank you.
No. But there was all of our listener right now was screaming. Yes. That always happens when I listen to podcasts and they're trying to remember something and I'm screaming. I'm like, it's chickens out.
Everybody understand that when you're actually under the gun and recording, suddenly my brain goes completely empty and I can't remember any words whatsoever. But yes, is the Strait or the Flaccid, as it were, of Hormuz, is it clogged? Is it not right now? Who knows? But what we do know is that at the time of this recording, I am somewhere in the middle of Utah with my children screaming at me and paying probably $17 a gallon for gas. Anyway, there is no new good news in the world right now, but I have dug deep to be the finest news source in the country. Did you know that at the close of its legislative session last week in Georgia, 15 anti-LGBTQ bills were all stopped? And yes, Queens of Georgia, thank you. This was democracy in action. More than 2,500 folks traveled to Atlanta to rally against all of these bullshit laws that are distracting us from things like Epstein files, although in Georgia it might be something a little more local. But let's face it, stop picking on us and stop picking on joy and stop picking on truth, you motherfuckers. But anyway, none of them passed through both houses, and they obviously then never made it to the governor's desk. Thank God. Meanwhile, speaking of governors, Governor Evers in Wisconsin, a Democrat, vetoed 5 anti-trans bills that did make it through the House.
Yes, Wisconsin.
So thank you, Governor Evers. And then meanwhile, somebody pushed back a little bit in Boston University, which, can you believe, like the bastion of liberalism there in Boston? Even universities there were trying to comply in whatever, maniacally weak way with the Trump administration. And they were putting down a blanket veto or a blanket ban on all signs that faced out politically. And what they meant by that is anything basically pro, who knows what, anything at BU, Boston University. But enough people clapped back that this was disproportionately affecting LGBTQ messaging, in particular pride flags, that the Boston University president said, never mind, we're going to put pride flags back. So
yeah, because also, Legally Blonde was set in Boston at Harvard University. Don't fuck with Elle
Do
Woods.
not fuck with Elle Woods.
Have you seen Legally Blonde 2, Red, White, and Blonde? She goes to Congress.
She sure did, and she made change, and she made hot dogs horny again. So
with Bruiser's Bill. God, that's such a great, I love those movies.
Do you think Legally Blonde 2 would make a good musical? Who cares? Of course it would.
You have to have the original creators. I don't want... Have you seen some of the video of the Legally Blonde revival in the West End? It's real bad.
Oh.
Real bad. Sorry if we have a listener out here that is in that show. That is... You have taken the show and you've done all the wrong things. So come to me if you need some help.
Okay, so speaking of come to me, our DILF of the week...
That's a really good transition.
I am really excited this week, and immediately when I saw it in the news, I'm like, that is absolutely our DILF of the week. Commander Reed Wiseman of Artemis 2. And yes, he is the commander of a brand new spaceship. So come on, Star Wars vibes. And yes, he made all of us cry when he and the team named the particularly bright crater after his deceased wife, who tragically died several years ago, naming the crater Carroll, Carroll. I don't know why I needed to point out that it was 2 R's and 2 L's, but when you see Crater Carroll, you know who it is.
Yep.
But why is he our DILF of the week? Because He's hot.
Correct. That is at the top of the list.
Commander
he's the farthest, the human that's traveled the farthest in the solar system.
And yet the closest to our hearts and bodies. So Commander Reed Weissman, you're hot. You're
so
our dope of the week.
Cute. He's got this like boyish, like soft top energy, you know? Right? Do you know what I mean? Like he's a top, but he's not taking control of anything except the command module. You guys got to look at pictures of him. He's gorgeous,
super
but he's
hot.
soft
But
top
there's
all
also,
the way.
he definitely looks like dad. He gives girl dad energy with lots of making hearts with his hands all over the place. And you know that guy he's definitely got a 4-pack, maybe just a 2.5-pack, but that's all we need. And you know him in that suit and just that boyish smile.
Great DILF of the week. And also a scientist and an explorer, and he's all the great things. But again, the most important part, hot.
All right, speaking of hot or not, it's a time for our top 3 list.
Gaytriarchs top 3 list. 3, 2, 1.
Okay. No, you were keeping it. This week is my week, I think. Yeah,
it was.
So you know, when I was going through, so this week it's the top 3 gay things that aren't gay, and I don't know if makes any sense.
Lots of ways
to anybody.
Lots of ways to take this.
Correct. So it's basically 3 gay things that aren't gay. The way I took it were 3 things that are not inherently homosexual, right? It's not like gay sex or whatever, but something about it is gay, and you can't put your finger on it.
Or in it. This was definitely open to interpretation, but please share with us your top 3 gay things that aren't gay.
So here's number 3 for me: airline status. Something about being a platinum member or going to do you know what I mean? Going to an airline lounge. I was like, that's gay. I don't know why straight people have status with airlines, but something about airline status, gay.
Status and size queens, basically.
Right?
I don't know.
Number 2, this is maybe an obvious one, but incandescent lighting. Something about a tungsten bulb just feels queer in a way that like an LED obviously straight, like an LED light bulb
obviously straight,
heterosexual, and incandescent, like,
and it's like
tungsten.
Its shape, and sometimes they have like a little reservoir tip at the bottom of them.
It's all just a little gay.
They hang upside down. Anyway,
there's some.
We have taken this in very different directions, but I would like to riff.
This is the fun part.
I would like to riff on every single one of them now.
Okay, and number 1 to me, the thing that is not gay but is so gay, meth. It's gay. If you're addicted to meth, you are gay. What about you?
Oh shit. Well, okay. Now, I don't know. The things that struck me as that's gay, but not really. That was more my vibe on it. Was
sure.
Boys' weekends. Straight dudes just like hanging out, bonding, camping, sitting around.
Like, we got an Airbnb. And I'm like, where are people sleeping? Right?
Just a little gay. Just a little gay. Not gay, but just a little gay.
Just a little gay.
Number 2 for me, sucking at video games. And what I mean by that is, and this is, I just take it to a serious political realm, but when I hear my son playing video games with his friends and they still call each other gay when they're not good at it. And I'm like, can we please not be the family that lets that happen? Anyway, calling each other gay because they suck at video games is definitely not gay, but anyway, but fucked up. Number 1, my first name.
Yeah.
Now, it's gay, but it's not technically gay because a name isn't gay, right? But there is a straight person in the world named Gavin who is straight. That probably exists. You are not that person, obviously. No, I am not. But the name is not inherently gay, but it obviously is
true.
Gay.
You know what? I'm proud of us. We didn't do the low-hanging fruit like brunch or throw pillows. Like those are like, right? Those are things.
Well,
we reached for the stars.
Those are inherently gay. Like just categorically gay, brunch and throw pillows.
Straight people can have brunch, but they have to be a little gay about it. All right, what's next week?
I thought you were texting me earlier today, and you said don't ignore.
I have another list, but usually we go back and forth.
I know we do. You threw me off, and I'm not prepared. So give me a topic.
Okay, so next week, because you're unprepared as usual, our next top 3 list is going to be the top 3 songs that really capture parenting. Gavin, this week we have somebody very special joining us. And no, she's not just a mom. She's not just a cool mom. No, she's not just a friend of mine. No, she's not just a tour de force talent. No, she's not even just an Emmy winner.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, you heard me. There are 2 of us in this chat, Gavin. Step up your game.
Boy.
She is all of those things, but also, and maybe most importantly to her and to the world at large, she is one of our very first ever listener. Yes, way back, hundreds of episodes ago, she joined us on this stupid journey and still continues to torture her delicate ears to this day. Please welcome to the show someone who actually deserves the Emmy Award that now sits atop her shelf, Maggie Gottlieb.
Wow,
Hi, Maggie.
Welcome.
Wow. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah.
Welcome.
I've actually bought the books of some of your guests.
Look at that.
I am the listener.
You are the listener. Listen.
Is it all thanks to our amazing book list on our amazing website that you were able to do such a thing by chance?
It was not.
Silence. Awkward silence. Yeah. That affirms all of what I assumed that would be about zhuzhing up our website. But anyway, Maggie, I don't see your Emmy in the background. It's not obnoxiously placed like David's.
Yeah, I do see a net of children's toys in the corner, which I really love.
Yeah, do you see the skip hop activity center? Like we have a guest room / office / baby's room that he refuses to sleep in because he wants to sleep directly in contact with me at all times.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. Yeah, the Emmy is not in here because it's pointy.
Yes, because it's pointy and you have a child. Well, speaking of your child, tell us, how did your son drive you bananas today?
So my son's name is Ozzy. He just turned 1. And
yes.
First of all, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Second of all, congratulations to me for surving the first year of parenting.
That's who deserves the birthday wishes.
Yes.
You deserve the cake. Yes.
Where's my cake is what I want to know. And so he's transitioning to cow's milk from formula, which the formula is cow's milk based. And I sort of was expecting the transition to be easy peasy because of that. But he has been waking up multiple times a night screaming from tummy pain. So scary little poops 3 or 4 times a night this last couple weeks. And so just waking up screaming bloody murder at 9:30, 2:30, and 5:30 overnight last night. That's
fun.
And then I'll also add, when I dropped him off at daycare, feel free to cut this, but they have the rule that you can bring them late, but you can't bring them early. So I had to stand for 5 minutes listening to a song about a fire truck, and the whole chorus was just a person singing, trying to impersonate a siren, going ooh 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 ooh. So I had to listen to 5 minutes of song siren.
Was that here come the fire truck driving down the street, boom boom boom, and it goes ooh you, ooh you.
Yes.
That shit lives in my... You know, there's 3 songs for babies' toys. There's like 3 total, and we all have them. Yeah, they live inside of it, and they haunt us. That is hilarious that you're in the parking lot, and you're like, please take my child. And you're like, no, not until you listen to a grown-ass man impersonate...
Ooh, 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 ooh.
You know, those middle of the night poops. The middle of the night poops are especially treacherous because what you forget, the parent out there who haven't had infants yet, is that you generally in the middle of the night try to keep things still dark, still mysterious, to keep the vibes going. So you're like trying to remove feces from your son's weirdly shaped balls in the dark while you're trying.
Without actually waking them up. You think, if I do this calmly and quickly, you won't actually wake up so that you'll just easily go back to sleep. And yikes.
No. So we've got the red light, the white noise. it's treacherous.
It's kind of like when I don't know if you guys do this when you pee in the middle of the night, but like you kind of keep your eyes as squinty as possible to kind of keep the vibes going. So by the time you get back to bed, you're like another 20% ahead. Yeah.
You think you're still asleep. But Maggie, I don't think we've had anybody talk about that transition between formula and milk before, or I don't remember. I mean, obviously my brain is a sieve, as is my memory, but that, you've had to go whole hog from one to the next, which undoubtedly your kid is only one. Their entire experience of the world is pretty limited. And you can imagine that would be a really disoriented feeling for their entire digestive system. So what was it like when he first drank it? Did he have a reaction on his face?
No, I was a little nervous that he was going to be like, what the fuck is this? And thankfully that was not the case.
Send it back.
He's not Stewie, but
he does that from time to time because he's just like in a mood. He's like, I don't like blueberries today. Get over it.
And that never changes, by the way.
Yeah, perfect. Love that. Can't wait. So he didn't have like an immediate grimace or reaction or anything, but like we're still in the middle of this transition. I'm not really certain if it's like filling enough, if it, I don't know, he's teething. And so I'm like, are you getting enough nutrition? What are they actually feeding you at this daycare? Because it's the sort of gulag daycare that gives you like a slip of paper with some check marks on it at the end of the day, rather than like, they don't have like the app where they update you with photos. It's literally just like, here are the check boxes of the items that happened today. It's like, you're just going to have to trust us.
It's like a Russian daycare. Where, yeah, exactly.
There's like a swinging light bulb and like...
Well, let's face it. Kids these days are too soft. They all need a little more gulag in their lives.
Oh my God. Our first daycare was that way too, because it was obviously a Russian daycare, but it was also during prime COVID time. And so we weren't allowed in the building. There was no app or whatever. It was exactly that. It was like a ditto Scantron style. Like here, I don't know. I think they ate today, and you kind of just trust, well, my child is still alive. Yeah. But also you're going through something that I feel like I go through now a little bit, but definitely not as much as when you have a baby, which is where like something is happening and you don't know if it's this or that or that. Are they crying because their teeth are hurting? Or are they crying because they don't like this milk? Or are they crying because I'm not sleeping next to them? Or but we don't know.
It's everything.
It's 65 things happening at the same time.
Yeah. It's like every shit show is Venn diagramming into the next shit show. And so we're just overlapping in this sea of constant stuff. And it's just like, why don't they just tell you when they hand you the baby, like, this is going to be agitated for 2 to 3 years straight. Don't expect anything to feel normal for a while.
Or for you to actually have an answer to anything. But that said, have you figured out a rhythm in this milk change process that do you feel like it's at all under control?
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is, kind of. I think the scary poops the last couple nights have been, an adventure. And like, I don't know if either of you use the owlet sock with your kid, but when they, when they kick mid diaper change and then get poop feet, I'm just like trying to mitigate, like, don't get the $250 heart monitor covered in poop as we're changing him overnight. But yeah, I mean, he was very eager to eat solids. And so I'm just trying to trust that, like, you're getting the nutrition you need to survive from the solids, and the milk is supplementary. And we're going to just try to ride the wave in that direction. Totally. For as long as possible.
I feel like I heard somebody say once, like, I think it was a doctor saying, like, if your kid eats one meal a day, they're fine. Like, if they're eating something at some point, they're totally fine. But talking about the heel and the poop, that is such a insider baseball, like, every parent understands, is that somehow these children put their heel in the yellowest poop you've ever seen, and you immediately go into panic mode because you're like, which part of them do I grab? What nightmare do I stop first here, right?
And you like brace yourself for, you're like self-protecting for those moments, and then they trick you because they'll be chill for a while and they'll be like, no, I don't kick my poop anymore. I'm just like, I'm a grown-up guy now. I don't play that game. I know how to control my body. And then their brain shorts out and they're like, nope, I kicked my poop again. So congratulations.
I need to feel this. I need to feel the panic of my mom. So let's go back a little bit. So you, I thought, would be a great guest for 100 reasons, because you're one of my favorite people. But also, you, like me and some other people maybe listening to the show, started having kids much later in life. And what's interesting also is that you had it yourself. It was in your body and you gave birth to it as an older person.
True.
And I think it would be an interesting kind of window for some of our listeners to kind of hear from your point of view about being pregnant as a geriatric pregnancy, but also IVF, IUI, whatever and I want you to tell us about the process of you getting pregnant, but also like what it felt like both physically and emotionally from your point of view.
Because we gays think that we're just making a milkshake from a distance and we don't even think about it.
No.
And when do we get to go buy shit and have a baby in our hands? But it would be nice to hear what did you go through?
You've had lesbians on the show. You've had people with uteruses on the show. But yes, I appreciate the question. It's a big one. So apologies if I ramble. But okay, where do I begin?
Well, tell us first about like having children later in life. Was it like a decision, or was it just like it just happened that way? For me, it just happened that way. I didn't get into a long-term relationship until I was in my early 30s. And then even then it was like, I don't know, kids, I don't know.
Yeah. Totally fair. Okay, so there's a bunch of variables there. Variable one is me, the person. Me, the person, used to be a nanny. And when I met my husband, I was sort of like, I need minimum 5 years to forget everything I've seen as a nanny to even contemplate doing this myself on purpose. So that was variable one. And when we met, he was sort of like, I for sure want kids. Why wouldn't I want kids? Why wouldn't I want specifically biological, my spawn in the world? Like that's a no-brainer for me, a straight presenting man. Which, by the way, I've badgered David to bring me on this show to avoid bi erasure for a long time. So,
which we try to do here. We try to erase as many bi people as possible. That is our goal here at Gaytriarchs.
Yeah. So anyway, but Charlie also comes from a very small town. Charlie is my husband. He comes from a very, very small town where everybody gets pregnant the second they graduate from high school, essentially, including his girlfriend. That pregnancy did not end up coming to fruition, but like there were some pregnancy scares in high school for him. And he sort of was like, wow, I really escaped that trap, get to move to the big city, get to live a life. And I get to like make different choices because that pregnancy didn't end up becoming a thing.
Right.
So both of us we got married in 2016, right in September when there was still a little bit of hope left in the world. And
oh yes, 2016 when it all changed.
Yeah, very different era. And you know, we've been so aggressively on the fence for so long because we know, especially within the last decade or so, how complicated it is to bring a human life into the world. And it was just sort of this ongoing conversation that was sort of like I don't know, we just took too long to talk about it. And then we finally had to press the issue. It was sort of like, okay, we're both still on the fence, but leaning slightly toward yes. So like, we're just leaning slightly enough toward yes. And like, you know, there's a timeline on these things for straight people and for people who are worried about fertility stuff. And when you start that journey at 36, 37, it's different than when you start it at 18, 19, 22, whatever. So it ended up being a little bit harder to conceive naturally than we thought it would be. And we went begrudgingly down the journey of, okay, I guess we'll try IUI. And when that didn't work, it was like, okay, I guess we'll try IVF. I didn't know this was going to escalate so quickly. But I will say, to just counter your point where you're saying, Gavin, like, oh, we just want to buy stuff and we just want someone to put a baby in our hands. Like, yes. However, I feel like queer couples are scrutinized so much more in the process of trying to achieve a family, whatever that looks like.
Sure.
Like, I have friends who are trying to adopt right now, and the level of scrutiny they are subjected to, just like top to bottom examination of their home, their finances, everything and there's like, okay, you have to put chicken wire because that balcony is not safe enough. And like, whatever. Like I've heard you say this before too, David, that like, you just need 2 Coors Lights and a truck bed in some communities to just,
that is not normally how David says it,
but it encompasses the spirit of what I usually mean. Correct.
Sure does.
Yeah. Anyway, so It's been a journey, but we're very lucky to have our little guy and some extra healthy embryos in a freezer ready for their time
the
to
next
shine.
one. Okay, so this is I'm gonna ask you another question, which I feel like as a gay couple who physically is very removed from this, like the actual pregnancy part, I went through a variety of emotions of hope and fear and excitement and all the things. That coupled with physical things happening in your body, not only with like the progesterone shots and like the scheduling, the medical, like, well, this date and all that kind of stuff, but also the like, did I do something wrong? Am I not like, is us not getting pregnant a fault of somebody's? Did you ever feel all of that kind of stuff? And if so, and putting yourself in the shoes of like a surrogate, I feel like how could gay couples be more supportive of that process? Because I found myself often going, I want to do more, but I shouldn't do too much. And then I would always lean on the just not doing too much, or I think I should have done more.
And being lazy was your default.
Being lazy, which is my default.
I'm like, am I meeting Ernest David for the first time?
No, nor should you. I don't normally allow it.
Who is this thoughtful human before me?
When we were recording the first part of this episode, I said to Gavin, we were talking about expanding the show, and I said, Gavin, we haven't responded to an email of somebody offering to partner with us that was sent a week ago. We don't belong. We don't belong in anything. But anyway, yes, this is Ernest David. He will go away after the answer of this question.
So David monologued 47 questions there. First of all, how did it feel for you physically and mentally? And then also, we'll come back to the others.
For sure. Okay, so physically, I'm very lucky that I'm not afraid of needles. I wonder how people manage that if they have to go through IVF. I also feel like I have a pretty high pain tolerance, or at least I thought I did until I tried to give birth without an epidural, which that's a whole other podcast potentially. But the first trimester, I sort of manifested. I was like, I fucking love food. I'm not doing morning sickness. Like, I'm just going to manifest that I'm in the like 10 to 15% of people that don't experience that. And that ended up being the case. There was like a week there where around 4 p.m. every day, I was like, I'm a little nauseous, but then it went away. So that was fine.
Nice.
However, I think when you are worried about how your behavior might be impacting your fertility or your pregnancy, there's like a self-policing that happens that's like, it's a big mind fuck for me, like beyond just like, don't have too much caffeine, don't drink booze, don't eat this list of things that like, I'm like, I've never had to like look for sprouts on stuff to know like sprouts, like, I don't know. I've never been mindful of bean sprouts, for example, but I do have food allergies. And so I was very resentful the whole time that I had to like police my food behavior, and also have kind of like a history of disordered eating, if I'm being honest. So I think it puts me into a fucked up headspace to be like, don't eat that, or, you know, eat more of that, or whatever it is. And there's also so much messaging to women and femme people from doctors like, have you tried being thinner? Have you
tried not being so fucking fat? Yeah.
Have you tried not being a fat ass? Or, you know, I don't know, maybe if you just gave up gluten and dairy, everything would resolve itself and you wouldn't have all these health problems that you think you have. So yeah, there's a lot of fucked up messaging that is kind of built into the narrative in your mind before you even go into the experience of being pregnant. And then, you know, everybody kind of cruises through the second trimester for the most part. And the third trimester for me was just like back and leg and foot pain mainly was like what I struggled with. I think just because, again, she should be a little bit thinner, but
you are carrying another being inside of you and your body is reacting greatly. So
it's sustaining a life. It's building bones. It's building a tiny penis. It's got stuff to do.
It is a fascinating process, and let's face it, we as gay men, the one thing that we are super missing out on bodily is that magic of having a baby inside of us. Women are amazing. How can we, as gay dads, especially for our surrogate carriers, but how can we support them / you?
I think just like checking in on their well-being throughout, like just, I don't know, send a little like gift card for ice cream here and there, or like I don't know, just like things to kind of distract you from everything that's it feels like a really long wait. And I imagine if you sign up to be a surrogate, you're kind of like excited about that part, or maybe you have done this before, you know what you're getting yourself into. But yeah, just like a prenatal massage. Ooh, that would be a very good gift for one surrogate.
Good to know.
Very good stuff. To just kind of relax your body and like just ease into the fact that like it's going to feel this way for a while, and that's going to suck. Although I think the anxiety for me, because you're talking about sort of like all the various tests and scans, and at every point in the pregnancy, you're sort of like holding your breath for like, oh, this is where we might find out X, Y, or Z about what's developing there. I think when you're going through IVF, if you have the chance to do genetic testing in advance, for my anxiety brain, that was really like helpful, because I know that we pre-screened for everything that we could, I guess. So I was less nervous for each test than I think I normally would have been if it was a traditional conception story.
Right. It's so frustrating because on one hand, I think I was the same way, where like you are withholding excitement and focusing on what could go wrong in an effort for self-preservation, to be like, okay, like I don't want to get too excited because if I get let down. So like I kept moving the check marks of when I could tell people, when I can get excited. And it kept pushing and pushing. Then it said, well, the 20-week scan, and then it was viability, and then it was, well, birth, and then it was, and then it just never, it's still, my kids are 6 and 4. I don't know if I'm excited yet about them, because for a lot of reasons, but I really do. I feel like I missed out on a lot of the joy because I was so prepping for, if there was a failure, I want to be less. It's like rehearsing pain, right? It's like rehearsing the pain of something before it's happened. You think it's a shortcut.
Like, it's like pre-grieving the potential loss that happens. And like, I think probably as queer people, you for so long tell yourself this can't happen for you for any bajillion of reasons, financial, you know, meeting your person, or otherwise, just like
financial,
because Jesus Christ, like one of the things that pressed the conversation for us, even when we already had eggs and sperm that were viable in the mix, like one of the things that pressed the conversation for us was the writer's strike, because we lost our healthcare at a certain point. It's like, well, we have this like fertility lifetime benefit of $30,000 that's just going to evaporate if we don't use it. So I guess let's bank some embryos.
I guess. Thanks, Writers Guild.
I just I know. Thank you, Writers Guild. And thank you for making that available to gay couples as well, which wasn't always the case. So thank you, Rob Foreman, specifically on the WGA board, for making that happen.
Speaking of Writers Guild, tell us, Miss Emmy winner, Maggie Gottlieb, you won your first Emmy Award for writing this year. Tell us a little. I know you and I were just we were guests on another podcast talking about this, but for our listener out there,
sleeping around as just podcast sluts there.
Totally. We're in an ethically non-monogamous relationship. You know that. But tell us quickly, like, hey, what do you do? I know you're a writer, but like, and you won a fucking Emmy Award. Tell me about that.
Yeah,
as if I wasn't sitting next to you, by the way. I know. Yeah.
My first reaction when they said that we won was to look at you and say, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
She actually said that. She literally actually said that.
Direct quote was to grab him with claws of death and say, "Are you fucking kidding me?
I gotta go upstage with this ball gown. I gotta go up there." Yeah.
I truly was like pulling it up the whole time. But so I have a background in art history and improv and sketch comedy, which like neither of those things are TV writing, but in weird ways they both led to TV writing. Because art history, there's a lot of visual storytelling, obviously, because you're interpreting a visual piece of art for a reader. So I think that gave me some skills in that particular department. Improv and sketch, I started writing more parts for myself as I was performing in Chicago. I had a mentor who eventually was like, you should write a pilot. Like, you should think about doing this for real. And I think like him, I don't know, just like sparking that in me gave me the confidence to be like, I should take myself more seriously. Moved to Los Angeles in 2015. And started pursuing a little bit of performing out here, but really leaned more into writing, because I found for myself, and I'm sure both of you can speak to this because you have a performing background as well, that as I started auditioning, getting my feet wet, looking for parking, doing my hair before sweaty auditions in Los Angeles. And there was something that felt so much more sustainable to me about a career in writing, because you're facing a fuck ton of rejection either way, like no matter what creative life you pursue. But there was something really foundational to me to say, you're not rejecting me, the person who woke up early, put on this makeup, put on this hair, tried to suck in my stomach while I was giving the, speech for the Scientology commercial read, whatever, like to reject me, the person, versus this piece of paper between us with words that I thought of. It's like that extra level of separation felt more survivable to me for like a long-term career. And, I don't know. There was more of a career available in TV writing 10 years ago.
Back then it was a fucking gold rush. It's crazy, like the difference in the systems that are going on right now. But also, you're so right about the separation of your art, that the thing you make is not you. And even though we as actors aren't the thing we're selling, we are so fucking close to it. So when we do get rejected, yes, I was playing Hamlet, but you're really rejecting me. And that is, Gavin has done 150 Broadway shows. I've done one, but like
161. Actually, but yes.
But even I think Gavin can agree, after 161 Broadway shows, it still fucking hurts when they say we did not choose to hire you.
Intellectually, they're making casting choices for a very specific reason.
I do it as a director.
There's no control.
I do it all the time.
No
as a director,
control.
but I still feel it as an actor. Yeah.
Well, speaking of control, though, it seems to me that as a writer, would be appealing to me is that you actually are the creative one. Because so often acting is not creative. You're just let's say it, reacting or taking direction from somebody else. But when you're the writer, it seems to me that there's a tremendous amount of control there, which at the same time, I do know that TV writing is often actually like you're catering to a producer, right? And their desires and missions and whatever. But for sure, still, it seems to me that there's a certain level of creativity there that you get to own, which must feel great.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's the illusion of control at certain points in the process, right? Because you write a million samples for staffing purposes that show your talent, that show, like, here are the stories that live in my brain. If I could have $1 bajillion to create a show, this is what it would be. Sometimes you get to sell that show and make it. Sometimes you don't. Other times you are bringing somebody else's idea to fruition, and like you're just lucky to get a couple jokes on the page. It really depends on the project,
Yeah.
But I think at a certain point you also have to hand it off to production, or hand it off to the director, the showrunner, whoever is going to go take it and make sure it exists.
I think that part, Gavin, you're talking about is, for at least for my experience as a writer, is up until you have somebody else read it, it's only yours. It only exists in your head. Everything after that, it's no longer just yours. Even if it's just, I gave it to Maggie to give me notes on, it now exists outside of me in a way that I don't have the control that I do in the very beginning. So those first couple of passes, or first couple of weeks or months that before you give it to anybody, are kind of magical. And then once it gets into production, Maggie, you know this, and a lot of people know this, it's not yours even a little bit. They don't consider you. You're gone. Yeah. We have the script. We got it. Go the fuck away.
Until there's a problem and you have to rewrite.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
When it's perfect, it's somebody else's, thanks to somebody else. But when it's not so perfect, it's your fault. So speaking of fault, actually, I want to make sure that we don't do exactly what you expect David to do, which is by erasure.
Erase them all. Erase every single one of them from history.
Scrub them from history.
Yes.
Now, even though I am positive that you're famous and that's how I already know you, even though you and I have never talked before about 45 minutes ago, I am curious. You seem to be interested in being able to address your queer identity, and I would love for you to tell us about it.
Oh, and then we'll erase it immediately.
Delete. Scrubbed. Okay, yeah. So I don't know, depending on the day, I like the words bi, pan, queer. Any of those feel pretty much right to me, because I'm attracted to the person, not necessarily their downstairs mix-up or their parts.
Downstairs
and
mix-up. That's my grinder name, downstairs mix-up.
Yep. And yeah, so I don't know. I've always been the type of person who lived life among queer people. Like my mom and dad were very into like art growing up. And so we circulated in families where there were two dads or, you know, more two dads than two moms, to be honest. But like, I remember meeting a lot of gay people as a young person and being like, oh, this is an identity that exists. This is a thing you can be. That's pretty cool. And, you know, as you got older, more and more queer friends. And I started, you know, stereotype in college, kind of figuring out that like I'm a little bit gay, but I'm not sure how gay. Even wrote a song about that I performed at Second City for a while.
that'll be our play out. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I do have a recording of it. So just I started being like, oh, I don't know if you had straight female friends in your era that were like, oh, I have a girl crush on so-and-so. Was sort of a terminology that was floating around in the late 90s, early 2000s. And I don't know. I just started kind of like leaning into the fact that like, yeah, I have a girl crush, but like, why can't I just call it a crush? And yeah, just through all my various theater people in college and after college, just kind of like came into my realization that like, yes, I'm not a straight person. It is way easier to get into a relationship with a dude as a woman or femme looking person than it is to get into a relationship with a woman, or at least it was in my circles. So I am one of those weird bi people that has never actually dated. I've messed around with women and other people, but I've never dated seriously anybody. And so for a long time, I don't know, the kids call it comp het. It was like compulsory heteronormativity. That's
what the kids are calling
That's
it.
What the kids
Are your kids calling it that?
They are not. But it's I think it's similar to like being like socially heterosexual, socially monogamous, socially where it's like I don't want to have to fucking explain to you the roster of identities I have. So I present in a heterosexual monogamous relationship, even though the story is different. I have family members who are exactly the way you are, where it's like, I am not straight, but it's the closest checkpoint that is the easiest to explain.
Yeah, if you don't want to stay up talking about it till 3 a.m. and whatever, let's just move on. And it doesn't need to be that big a deal. I would imagine, or I'm wondering if is this a recent realization / comfort with an identity that you have had, or has it been for decades that you've been like, no, I'm in the queer umbrella?
It's been for decades or maybe a decade or two, I'll say, that I've been, no, I'm in the queer umbrella, and friends and people I'm very close to have known that about me. And I didn't make it like public knowledge. Like I didn't like come out in a big way until I was 35, because I was just brushing it under the rug. Like you're saying, like it was just easier to check that box than to acknowledge a more complex identity. But then at 35, I don't know, I was just like having this cognitive dissonance moment where I was like, this is fucked up. And like, if I really believe all the things I say I believe, I should be more open about my identity so that people who don't think they know a queer person now think, oh wait, I do know one queer person and I can ask them questions if I need to.
Visibility matters.
Yeah. But also, listen, you being a hypocrite before 35 is why you're here, because we embrace hypocrites here on the podcast. We love them. We embrace them. Yeah. I mean, like this is a larger discussion, but this is true about relationship styles, gender, sexuality, all that kind of stuff. We're like, it's just easier sometimes to just say the thing, but sometimes you're like, am I doing damage? And then you're like, but I don't want to like take the queer flag for myself when it's not really mine because I'm not totally queer. And then the whole dance you do. But I think there's something beautiful that happens in your late 30s, early 40s where you really go through the I don't give a fuck stage. You really don't give a fuck what other people say. And you really start to embrace those parts of you, which to me has been the most fun part of my life, because I'm like, I in my early 30s and late 20s, I was like, I don't care what people think, but I really did. Now I actually don't give a fuck about what you think.
100%.
Yeah.
I am not quite 40 yet, but I can see it on the horizon.
coming.
As I see it, the closer it gets, the fewer fucks I give. So that's a very liberating feeling, to be honest.
So
and I know
liberating.
that now I would rather wear combat boots every day than ever put on high heels again. To just like lean in to just the liberating feeling of like, fuck your expectations.
Yes.
This is the vibe. And
Doc Martin is my new identity. Yes. We're running out of time, but before we get to the end, I do want to ask you about the idea of like trying for number 2, and are you? And if so, what made you decide that? Because I know a lot of gay people in my life and straight people. The decision from 1 to 2 is the big one, right? Like 2 to 3, 3 to 4, just throw another puppy on the pile. But 1 to 2, that's a fucking decision. Are you trying for number 2, and what led you to that decision?
Yeah. And I think it's different from person to person, whether 0 to 1 rocks your world or 1 to 2. I don't know which will be, but we are in the process of trying for a second one.
Okay.
And a lot of things led to the decision, partially like being pregnant at 38 was a lot. I like the idea of a bigger age gap, but like I don't love the idea of being pregnant at 42, 43. That sounds painful. Just physically, I don't know that I'm going to be in that headspace at that point in time. Unfortunately, finances are a consideration. Like, is the insurance always going to be there? My husband works for a big corporation and they love to do layoffs, just big, like, cut the heads off of everybody in this department sort of layoffs. And so there's that. My parents, or my mom and her partner, and my in-laws, they're getting older, and just giving, like, I didn't have relationships with any grandparents just because my parents were older as well, and so to give theoretical and existing grandchildren as much time as possible with the people in their lives. I don't know. We just had a failed transfer, unfortunately, with our only female embryo, which is,
I'm sorry.
It's still a little fresh. We're still processing.
And it suddenly feels like opportunities are cut off and you didn't realize you wanted those opportunities, and you kind of think going into it, it's not that big a deal, but then it ends up being a big deal. And
but then I'm trying to like live my values and just remember that like the person is going to be who they're going to be, right? Like
100%.
There's nothing to say that the 3 embryos in the freezer are not trans or are not some identity that we haven't even discovered yet.
The truth is that no matter who your second kid becomes, they will be an asshole, because number 2 is always the hard one.
They're always the demon.
It is
ushered in by the angel child.
It is wild how true. I mean, it's not maybe 100% of the time, but like almost everybody I know who has 2 children, maybe other than Gavin, number 2 is the fucking terror.
It began that way.
Okay.
For sure.
So
that was,
Speaking of nightmare.
That was birth control right there. As if we had a choice.
Also the birth control was your butt. So speaking of nightmare children, let's close off the interview. You know where this is going. You've listened to the show before. Tell us, Maggie Gottlieb, Emmy winner and artist extraordinaire. What is your parenting horror story that you want to share with us?
Oh, good Lord. Okay, so my nephew got married in Nantucket last summer, which, first of all, how dare you? That makes me feel both broke and very old. On
a sailboat with espadrilles and like blue and white.
He married a lovely girl from Connecticut who has a family home on Nantucket. So we're very happy for him.
He chose wisely.
He did, and the baby at the time was 10 weeks old, and we decided to take him to this wedding because I'm very close to my nephew. I'm like, I'm fairly confident, having had experience with kids as a nanny. I'm like, this is a good era that he will be basically a little potato on this airplane. He's not going to be like running up and down the aisles screaming. So as long as we mitigate like the ear popping thing, we should be fine. Bring enough snacks, bring enough diapers, we'll be fine. Not snacks, bottles at that time. But it's a whole fucking escapade traveling with a child in the first place, especially the first time ever when my brain
your anxiety. off the charts.
I needed a fucking spreadsheet to just organize all the things he needed. Like, okay, we've got the breast pump here. We've got like 7 extra outfits for every day because you don't know when a blowout is going to happen at that point because it's constant. He needs an outfit to attend a wedding. So I have like extra backup tiny bow ties. Like, all this because extra seersucker tiny vest because it's a wedding in Nantucket and you want a tiny baby to look cute at a wedding in Nantucket. Yeah. So
it's everybody's dream for that. I mean, everybody's.
Yeah. Everybody's. And because it's expensive as fuck, I decide we're gonna do a very quick trip. Like it's gonna make it easier because it'll be a quick trip. We arrive in Boston and the plane to Nantucket is grounded initially because of weather delays or something like that. And it's of course this like 4-seater Cessna plane.
When those planes are when they have delays because of weather, you're like, that's fine. I am okay with that. This is not a 747, so that's fine. Whatever you want.
There's also like no luggage storage room, so you're like holding a live chicken in your lap because like everything has to go right in that main
They're
cabin.
like about to take off with the windows open and you're like, do I say something?
Yeah.
Why?
Do I say something?
Is this part of the protocol? Is this safe? Is this safer? Yeah. They must know the windows open,
rich
right?
people. They just take so many risks. Just kidding.
I mean, it's
they don't fly commercial to Nantucket.
No, this airline is like the backup for when your private plane is not working or, on loan to somebody else for the weekend. Yeah. So, on the way to Boston from LA, he did pretty well. We were really proud of him. Right as we were landing, as the pressure changes, he shits everywhere all over me.
Awesome.
It leaks a little bit onto my clothes, but I'm like, it's fine. We're almost to our destination. It'll be fine. So I completely strip him down, put in the doggy bag, like all the poop clothes. I'm like, I'll deal with that later. And I'm so prepared with my spreadsheet. I already have 2 backup outfits. So he has his backup outfit. We're waiting for the plane to take us to Nantucket from Boston. And they're like, it's canceled. Yeah. You live in Boston now. And I don't often pull the white lady customer service card, but the speed with which I was like, I'm traveling with a child.
I'm a child.
It was Titanic level panic of like, you must get my child to safety. Because we didn't have the flexibility to like get a hotel. It was a quick trip, quick turnaround. Anyway, so I white lady customer serviced us onto another Cessna plane by being hysterical.
Also putting all of your lives in danger because there was a reason that the plane was canceled. But okay.
Yes. Well, it was like we're having sun showers on and off. And so it's like every other flight that day was canceled. So we were able to make it onto the next one. No sense of urgency for people on the way to Nantucket, I have discovered. But so on the Cessna, he's wearing his little baby headphones because it's like the loudest fucking plane in the entire world. Once again, upon descent, completely shits himself, ruining the second backup outfit. And we arrive at the little airport that is it MASH? One of those TV shows is based.
Wings.
Wings. Thank you. Yeah. Wings is based on the little tiny airport that we land in.
Take it from the Gen Xer in the room. Yep.
There you go. Wings. Yep. I believe you. And yeah, so we land at the Wings airport, and my bag with all of my stuff and all of the baby's stuff has been left in Boston because of our last minute flight change.
Fun.
And so I have to spend my one and only full day on the island wearing my husband's clothes with the baby in just like a plain white onesie because that's the only backup item that we have. And he has shat himself to infinity on both flights. So I'm literally wearing like seersucker shorts and like a short sleeve button down and some like
speaking of genderqueer by like you were really living
very your vibe actually.
So gay.
Also, all I can think about is the Ziploc bags you are also carrying around with you with this like this radioactive sewage. Just for
there's 2 dog bags full of radioactive shit clothing that like I can't address until we get back to Los Angeles. So it's just like this is my life now.
Yeah.
And yeah, so
Don't worry, it gets worse.
That's my one trip to Nantucket where I was.
And you were not invited back because you were wearing seersucker.
What happened to that lesbian who smelled like shit? Yeah, we didn't invite her.
I don't know. Even the lobsters were sick of her by the end.
Maggie Gottlieb, you are a bright spot in a dark world. Thank you so much for demeaning yourself by being on our stupid little podcast.
Thank you both for having me. Thank you for the work you do to talk to all the gays and
erase bisexual people.
And specifically erase BIPAN and queer people every day.
So my something great this week is super practical and not for everyone. But if you do any sort of video recording where somebody's talking, so for me, I'll do self-tapes as an actor, right? Like I'll have to read lines or whatever on a tape. There is a small wireless microphone called Small Rig. I'm showing it to you in the camera right now. And it is basically these little circles, and they clip onto your shirt. They're like magnet.
Oh.
And then there's another piece that goes into the charging port of your phone. And there's nothing to do. It's a plug and play. And it makes the sound quality on your videos so great. So if you're a content creator or something like that who wants a better sound but you're not gonna have like booms and shit, and don't want like a lavalier that's connected to something, it is so great. I think it's like maybe $100, so it's a little expensive, but they are so nice. I use it all the time. It's called Small Rig, RIG.
Or especially for those who are trying to cultivate the content creator in their children, this is a great gift, right?
Totally. If you're trying to monetize your children.
For me, mine is much more lowbrow. I came across Ping Pong Pang Crew, and on Instagram, Ping Pong Pang Crew, spelled exactly the way it sounds. And they are a group of dancers who both dance and bounce ping pongs at the same time. And it is captivating in all the ways that the internet always intended it to be. So if you want something that will A, help you waste an awful lot of time, and B, bring complete delight in a world that is a dumpster fire, check out Ping Pong Pang Crew.
Watching you navigate that title brought joy to my life. That was something great for me. Thank you.
And that's our show. If you have any comments, suggestions, or general compliments, you can email us at GaytriarchsPodcast@gmail.com.
Or you can DM us on Instagram. We are at GaytriarchsPodcast. On the internet, David is at David FM Vaughn everywhere, and Gavin is at Gavin Lodge on Ping Pang Pong.
Please leave us a glowing 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts.
Thanks, and we will blank you next time on another episode of Gaytriarchs.